At the rumoured price tag of £58 million plus £160,000 per week salary, Arsenal are going all in for Fiorentina's Dusan Vlahovic. So let's get an update today on what the Arsenal director Mr. Edu Gaspar has been up to. Also, which Premier League club wants to sign Eddie Nketiah, and could Arsenal get Bruno Guimaraes on a potential loan transfer? Well, let's find out in today's episode of The Transfers FC. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bas14 and welcome back to your boys channel. The love recently has been absolutely amazing, so make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, and also do subscribe if you are new to the channel, as we are very much closing into 70k, less than 1,000 away. You guys right now are smashing the support. But let's get into the Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with Dusan Vlahovic. Forget about Transfers FC at this point. Let's just rename the series Dusan Vlahovic FC. Is he gonna sign for Arsenal, and if so, when is he going to sign for Arsenal, and what are Arsenal doing behind the scenes? Well, in terms of today, Mr. Chris Wheatley is reporting that Arsenal are making a continued push to sign Fiorentina striker Dusan Vlahovic in the January transfer window. Sources close to Arsenal technical director Edu insist he is doing everything possible to thrash out a deal in this month. And this is also echoed by the very reliable David Ornstein, who says that Arsenal have pushed hard to sign Dusan Vlahovic. It is now down to the player and his agent. In terms of Arsenal, I think it's very clear they are doing everything they can in terms of price tag, money on the table to Fiorentina, and even in terms of the player, they have put forward a very lucrative contract on the table as well. It seems like Edu Gaspar and Mikel Arteta are convinced on Dusan Vlahovic, and what they think is this guy is the perfect player to push Arsenal towards the Champions League places. And even in terms of the Arsenal ownership, the Cronkies, they are backing the Arsenal board, and they are giving the Arsenal deal the finances to make this deal happen in this specific month. But as Fabrizio Romano has said, and now even David Ornstein, it is the agent of the player that is holding back this transfer. But on that today, we've had some very interesting news, because according to the Arsenal Croatia Supporters Club, according to a source, the relationship between Vlahovic and his agent is wearing thin. The player is interested in Arsenal and could potentially sack his agent if he continues to cause trouble. Now, I'm not going to vouch for the reliability of the source itself, but in terms of these guys, what they are saying here is the agent of the player is causing issues behind the scenes. And in terms of Mr. Dusan Vlahovic, he's not a fan of it. They claim the player wants to come to Arsenal, is just a matter of the agent sorting out the fees behind the scenes. But once again, I'm not sure how reliable these guys are, but I've put it out there. It's down to you guys to digest it however you will. And according to Sky Sports News reporter Kavi Solikol, he says today, I think Vlahovic would like to play for Arsenal. He knows about the history of the club. He knows the club is in London and they have got a fantastic stadium, and Mikel Arteta is building something special again at the club. Putting the finances and the agents to one side, right now Arsenal are a very attractive outfit. The youngest team in the Premier League with the likes of Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Gabriel Martinelli, and a young manager as well to boast with it. If you are a young striker looking to come to the Premier League, Arsenal are one of the best clubs right now, financially one, but also on the pitch secondly. But according to Fabrizio Romano, Vlahovic wants to respect Fiorentina by achieving European football for them and then leaving in the summer. Arsenal will need to do something crazy to change the mind of the player and agents to convince him to join in January. One day, according to reports, the player's agent doesn't want to even pick up Arsenal's call. A few days later, apparently he wants to go to Juventus. Then we're hearing reports about Man City, and now you've got reports that he wants to stay at Fiorentina and compete for the European places. The fact that we are seeing so many contrasting reports on a day-by-day basis, what it says is that things behind the scenes are happening, and what we are seeing here is both the sides of the transfers. On one hand, you have the agent who is most definitely putting out news to the media, but on the other hand, you also have Arsenal Football Club and the likes of Edu Gaspar also pushing out a different narrative. And on that, the reliable Sammy Mockbell has claimed today that Arsenal are working to seal a deal to sign Dusan Vlahovic. Arsenal have not been put off by the high demands, including wages, agent fees and transfer fee. The fact that Arsenal are still sat at the table in the first place, and these guys are openly putting £58 million on the table, says to me that these guys are confident behind the scenes that they can make a transfer happen. If the player indeed didn't want to come to Arsenal in the first place, then why would they be openly wasting their time in what is a very important transfer window? But if Arsenal weren't to sign Mr. Vlahovic, according to Chris Wheatley, they would turn their attentions to other targets, including Jonathan David, Alexander Isak and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Regardless of Mr. Vlahovic, Arsenal have targets and they want to sign a centre forward, and that being in this specific transfer window. And on that, according to Chris Wheatley, Edu Gaspar met with the agent of Jonathan David at the end of December and is highly admired by certain figures within London Colney. There are a lot of other attractive targets, and Jonathan David is certainly one of them. In terms of the agents of the player, he's made it clear in the past that his client wants to move to the Premier League. So the fact that Edu Gaspar is holding meetings behind the scenes with the likes of David, Arsenal are keeping their eyes on alternatives. And the fact they've put the money on the table for Vlahovic, even if Dusan doesn't come to Arsenal, Arsenal still have money to spend, and they are looking to spend it. So you know what, I think it's only right that I throw it to you guys to answer down below in the comments. Out of the 3 potential alternatives of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Alexander Isak and Jonathan David, which out of those 3 would you prefer to see Arsenal sign if they can't land their first targets in Mr. Dusan Vlahovic? Keeping it on the strikers, according to David Ornstein, Chris Wood is set to join Newcastle from Burnley. Babs, what on earth does Newcastle signing a striker from Burnley have to do with Arsenal Football Club? First things first, in terms of Aubameyang. In the past few weeks, reports have claimed that Newcastle wanted to sign the ex-Arsenal captain, but now that these guys are spending £20 million on Chris Wood, that essentially ends their pursuit of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But secondly, in terms of Burnley losing their main goal-scoring Chris Wood, I'm sure they're going to want to sign a striker. And in terms of Arsenal, we do have a few, and one being a certain Eddie Nketiah. And on Mr. Eddie, according to Gary Jacobs of the Times today, Crystal Palace are in talks to sign Nketiah, who is out of contract at the end of the season. Palace's offer at £12 million was rejected last summer, when Arsenal wanted to close to the £20 million. So on one hand, you do have Crystal Palace that want to sign him, but also now let's keep an eye on Burnley. Having lost Chris Wood, I'm sure they're going to want to sign a striker, with Nketiah potentially available for not a massive fee, and him wanting first team minutes in the Premier League. I think it makes a lot of sense. So let's keep an eye on Sean Dyche's man and Eddie Nketiah. But while we are talking Arsenal strikers, here is a photo of Mr. Folarin Balogun at the Middlesbrough training facilities early today, completing his Middlesbrough medical. And according to Chris Wheatley, Borough will pay Arsenal a loan fee of around £1 million and will cover 15% of Balogun's salary, with manager Chris Wilder telling the player he will be used as a central striker. Going down to the Championship, well yes, it is a physical league, it will also improve Balogun's competitive edge playing competitive football where things are on the line. But do let me know your own thoughts on Arsenal loading up Folarin Balogun down to the Championship. Okay, let's move on and let's discuss Arsenal's pursuit for a brand new central midfielder. Because yes, Dusan Vlahovic would be amazing, but right now Arsenal are very short in central midfield. And so in terms of Arsenal, of course, they have been linked with a certain Bruno Guimaraes. And on that, Football London are reporting today that Kia Jobajan is ready to broker a deal between Arsenal and Bruno Guimaraes. As the North London side look to battle Juventus for his signature, Lyon are looking for a loan with a €45 million obligation to buy. But in terms of loan with obligation to buy, now I am listening. And you also have a reporter in Italy in Marco Di Natale claim that Juventus and Lyon are in talks concerning Bruno Guimaraes, and that Lyon are willing to accept a loan but want an obligation to buy at €45 million in the summer. Now first things first, why on earth do Juventus want to sign Bruno Guimaraes? Are these guys forgetting that they signed a certain Manuel Locatelli only in the summer? But secondly, it is further confirmation that Lyon are looking to accept a loan with the obligation to buy. And if this is to be true for Arsenal, that is perfect news, because ultimately it does make it financially far more viable for Arsenal to sign Vlahovic and Guimaraes in the same transfer window. But in terms of Mr. Guimaraes today, speaking on interest from other clubs, he says, "It's normal to be mentioned like this when you are an Olympic champion and have been called up to the national team and are performing well individually. But I don't really think about it. I let my agent manage that." That is the most PR transfer response I've ever seen. But most importantly, he understands how good of a player he is. And even in terms of the stats, in terms of most passes in the final third in League over season, Guimaraes ranks first. And even in terms of most progressive passes in League over season, Guimaraes ranks first again. Very ironically, the player second best after Guimaraes in both categories is a certain Matteo Guendouzi, who is still technically an Arsenal player, but is not going to come back anytime soon. And in terms of Guimaraes, he's also made it clear in the past that he wants to play in the Premier League, saying, "I've always said it to my agents that I dream of playing in England. It is the best league in the world. All the matches are close." So Bruno has made it clear in the past he wants to come to England. Arsenal hold interest, they like the player, but it goes back to the price tag at €45 million. The chances of Arsenal paying that in this window alongside Dusan Vlahovic for me is very unlikely. Which then poses the question of what is Arsenal's priority? Should they be signing a striker when for me right now, a midfielder is far more necessary? As per my friends, let me know your own thoughts on that down below in the comments. Keeping it on the midfielders, according to reports in Spain, Arsenal have accelerated their interest in PSG midfielder Gini Wijnaldum, with a loan move being rumoured. because in terms of the player, he wants to leave PSG on a short-term loan because he wants to play more minutes, and in terms of Arsenal right now, we could certainly offer him that. And talking about the player, according to Sky Kava, he claims that I've been told Arsenal are one of his favourite clubs. When he was growing up, he was an Arsenal supporter. Whether this is true or not, of course, I'm sceptical, but ultimately, if he does support Arsenal, I wouldn't be surprised. Back in the day, we had King Thierry, Dennis Bergkamp, prime Arsene Wenger, titles for days, invincibles, great football. You would be stupid not to support Arsenal. According to reports in Italy, Juventus midfielder Arta would prefer a move to Arsenal over Sevilla or anywhere else. He has taken note of the Gunners' interest and would prioritise a move to the carpets over all options. This is once again Arsenal looking for short-term options, and if they can't get their main players over the line, then they will make a move for Arta, Wijnaldum or someone of that ilk. The fact that Arsenal have the ex-Brazilian director in Edu Gaspar, I'm sure he knows all about Arta and how good a player he can be. But what do you guys make of Arta Melo, and is he a player that you guys want to see Arsenal sign? Fabrizio Romano says that Udinese have open talks with Arsenal to sign Pablo Mari on loan. No buy option included, it's a straight loan, negotiations ongoing. Now it does make a lot of sense for Pablo Mari to leave Arsenal in the first place, but what doesn't make sense is a straight loan deal, unless of course Arsenal are getting a very decent loan fee. Regardless though, it seems like a lot of clubs around Europe want to sign Pablo Mari. In Italy alone, you have the likes of Sampdoria, Udinese and also apparently AC Milan. With so many clubs reportedly wanting to sign this player, Arsenal can always use that as leverage. Talking about potential outgoings, according to reports in Turkey, Galatasaray have made first contact to sign Bernd Leno, with the German's contract up in 2023 at Arsenal. The fee would be in the region of 16 million euros, with Arsenal open to a sale. I think it's very clear Leno is going to leave Arsenal because he's not getting his number 1 shirt anytime soon. Ramsdale has come and he's taken Leno's number 1 shirt and made him a backup dancer. So the age that he is and the contract that he has, it makes a lot of sense to leave, but not quite go to Turkey or Galatasaray. And that's simply being because normally these guys don't put money on the table. If anything, I expect Leno to leave Arsenal but go to a club in the Bundesliga or somewhere elsewhere. But let's just say Arsenal were to sign Bernd Leno. Are there any other goalkeepers that you want to see Arsenal sign as a backup to Aaron Ramsdale? Okay, let's move on and let's talk the other Arsenal news today. And starting off with Alexandre Lacazette, he is our Frenchman, he is our number 9, but has he got a long-term Arsenal future? Because of course his Arsenal contract is set to expire at the end of the season. But according to Team Talk with an exclusive, Arsenal are ready to offer Alexandre Lacazette a 2-year contract extension in order to keep him at the club. In terms of Lacazette, now in his 30s, he wants a more long-term secure contract, and in terms of Arsenal, so far they have not offered him that. And with that being the case, I don't think ultimately it's going to change. But in terms of yourselves, what do you guys make of the future of Alexandre Lacazette? And if it came down to you right now watching this video, would you extend his Arsenal contract, and if so, for how many years? Takehiro Tomiyasu speaking on signing for Arsenal. I didn't need to call anyone or speak to anyone for advice. It was an easy choice for me because it's Arsenal. I didn't have time to speak to the manager before signing. I didn't need to, I wanted to come. When I talk about players that want to play for Arsenal Football Club, Takehiro Tomiyasu is the prime example. Players that when Arsenal came knocking on their door, they answered straight away and said, where do I sign? To then hear things like Dusan Vlahovic needed to be convinced to sign for Arsenal. Overall, I've always said that I am sceptical over those sort of players. Players that come to Arsenal not because of the club, but more because of the finances. But where do you guys sit on the fence? And do you think that Arsenal should have to convince players to sign for Arsenal? Or should we sign more players like Takehiro Tomiyasu, players that want to play for Arsenal Football Club? And finally, it's been confirmed that Chris Kavanagh will referee Tottenham vs Arsenal this weekend. John Brooks is in control of VAR. In terms of referees at Arsenal, we don't have the best of history, so we need to keep an eye on these guys. But most importantly, Arsenal now have 2 very important games. First things first on Thursday, Liverpool at Anfield, Carabao Cup semi-final, and then after that, Tottenham Hotspur, Nando's FC I call them, but it's a North London derby classic and a real battle for the top 4. So now the real question for Mikel Arteta is, what is he going to do in central midfield? With Partey and Elneny both at AFCON and Maitland now is going to Rome. So far so in terms of confirmed fit players, we have Charlie Patino and Albert Sambi-Lokonga. So with that kept in mind, what are your guys' thoughts going into these games? And do you think that Arsenal can pull 2 wins out of the bag? But that is the video there. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, and also do subscribe if you are new. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that was the latest episode of the Transfers FC, Dusan Vlahovic FC, whatever FC, Arsenal, sign some players FC. Anyways guys, I'll see you next time in a bit.